Hey, what's up everyone? Jeremy here, and I want to go ahead and jump right into an important tutorial that's going to be our second episode on our website optimization series. Now, this episode is going to be all about the speed of your website, how fast it's running, and making sure it's up to par in that sense. Now, you may be thinking website speed is not something to stress on off the bat. However, it really is. Statistics show that if your website takes longer than about 4 seconds, it's likely to create what's known as a bounce effect, in which a customer and, a potential customer, the user, will simply bounce to the next more useful source to get the job done. Now, unfortunate as this is, it is extremely easily remedied. I'm going to be going over many different things that will definitely help the speed of your website. The first group of things are going to be more important than the last. However, they're all something to consider. Excuse me. So, when we are making our website, before we even do anything and create the website, we need to find a host. And I've talked about what a host is in a previous episode if you want to watch that one. But your host will determine how well you're set up for the rest of your website. It just sets the tone for everything. So if your host is not where it needs to be, then unfortunately you're kind of you're throwing your time or money into a hole in the wall. It's just not worth it. Okay, so moving on from that, still on the platform of your website, if you are using a content management system, which, like WordPress or, for instance, you need to keep in mind that the theme that you build your website on might not be the fastest built. It might be heavy in certain coding that's deprecated, and you want to make sure that your platform is stable. So I would always recommend something, of course, along the lines of, if you are using WordPress, 2016, 2017 here soon, whatever. Their main theme that actual WordPress provides is going to be stable, pretty much as stable as they get. So I would always recommend going with that one. However, if you want to spend the money, there are many, 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 many different ones that you can at least check out, investigate, and find a stable one that will be secure. Look up reviews, look through the code yourself if you're able to. Do anything you can do to make sure that it's going to be stable, secure, and fast. Alright, so off of themes, we also need to keep in mind the size of the files that we are going to be uploading onto our website. So if you have a lot of pictures, which, there's a lot of pictures even right here, and I have this very large image of this beautiful sports exotic car, but if you have a lot of images, bigger images especially, as you can imagine, it'll take up a lot of space. But there's ways to remove a lot of the size from the image without losing the quality at all. And it's called Lossless Compression, and this is something that too many softwares to count offer. You can even do it online through your browser and just upload an image and they'll do it for you. But you should always compress your images and upload them to the best specifications that you can, and then you'll always be happy. So when we're also looking at compression, by the way, on top of that though, you can actually do something what's known as zipping your website's files, which you probably know what a zipped file is. You can do this with any file on your computer. And when you zip your website's files, you remove a lot of the excess space, and you still retain the information that's necessary to function. However, all the excess stuff that would still slow down your website, you don't need it, so it makes it a lot faster, simply put. But actually, back on the images really quick before I move on. When you compress your images, and you can initially do the lossless compression, and if you're using maybe, again, WordPress or Drupal or Joomla, they'll all offer some form of an additional compression for your images that will still not reduce the quality, but it'll get you that little bit of extra size reduction, which it can help. That's a more tedious little part, but anything helps, as long as you're not losing much quality at all. And, a great plugin to do that would be what's known as WP Smush Pro. It's a highly rated, very well reviewed plugin that I personally use just to make sure that my images are good, and it's free, so that's the best part. They do a bit of advertisements, but not on your actual forefront of the website, just in the content management system, which isn't too much to worry about. But I don't know, if it's something you're looking for, you really don't need it, but it could definitely help if you want to make sure. Anyways, we need to consider something when we have a website that's going to constantly have people coming back to our website, and we need to treat those customers, those users, properly by ensuring the website is as fast as possible for them. We can actually, maybe unfairly, you could consider, but we can give them a faster response and rendering time because they have already visited our site. They know the files, and they, speaking simply, we can pretty much give them the keys to make everything go a little quicker, but the people that have not already visited our website, we have to take the time to, shake their hand and, take the extra moment. So this is known as cache, and cache is, any website really uses it nowadays, and it's just something that they just store information about you, not personal, and it just helps. Sometimes it could be kind of based on your relationship with them or your membership, so that might be considered personal, but it's not a lot of public websites are going to keep a cache file of all that extremely sensitive stuff. And anyways, you can actually just use a cache plugin, and this is only if you're using a content management system, or you can set it up yourself if you're just going Rambo, but I would not recommend it. A content management system in this day and age is always recommended, if not on the borderline of necessary, to reach the security that we're looking for nowadays. If you want to use a cache plugin, though, I'd recommend this little guy up here, and excuse me. What we have is a free plugin. It's pretty well rated. It might not look like they've been downloaded too much, but it's stable. They keep updates on it. It's the one that I have recently been delving into, and I actually would recommend them. They're pretty decent, and but heck, do your own research. Don't take my word for it. This is just one of many different cache plugins that are available. There is one important note that I would like to, actually two important notes. One, when it comes to your cache plugin, you need to know that if your website is running faster, or it's, let's say it's running at, it renders within a half a second or a second, you have to consider the customers and users that have not already visited your website and think about how long your page is loading for them. And this isn't even talking about different devices, hardware, and all that, because that also takes a role. But beyond that, your cache, again, is providing a faster route for people that have visited your site, and you are one of those people inadvertently. So you need to do one of two things typically: either turn off that plugin and see how it renders when it doesn't give you that quicker rendering, because it already saved that information for you, or you can just get log on a couple other different devices and do it the old-fashioned way. But I'd recommend doing both. Just turn it off. Most of these cache plugins have a place where you can turn off the caching and temporarily enter a developer's kind of mode. So, moving on, we have database cleanup, which, when we think about our databases and all that, we usually don't even like to consider too much about them, except for the fact that they're handling all of the membership information, they're handling all of the ever-changing variables that make a website dynamic, So there are so many different things that are constantly building up in your database that you should remove if you have the opportunity. Now, all of these things are tedious, they're frivolous, and they really are not something you should do manually, just because of it's just a constant job. It's a job for computers. So let a plugin do it, right? And one plugin that would do an amazing job for this is WP Optimize. WP Optimize is an extremely well-rounded plugin, and it offers a solid caching system. When we look at all these things together, from your images to compressing them, your files in general, and all this, as well as making sure that you're creating a fast experience for web users that have already visited your website, these are some of the main things that you can start with to have be on your way to a faster website. And keep in mind your hosting, because it is a very, very important thing that you need to think about. And you'd be surprised, it happens quite a bit where you look over everything else and everything else is fine except for what your hosting provider is doing to you. So with all that, I believe we're actually going to move on to a second part to this video, and I don't see it going to a third part. But anyways, thank you very much for watching, and please subscribe. Also, feel free to leave me a comment down below, and I'll be sure to do what I can to answer any questions, or if you need help or anything. Take care.